Hello everybody, this is Cynthia Kane again, and welcome to Information Literacy and Technology for our week of January 26th, Identify. I thought it might be interesting and probably very useful at this point to spend a little bit of time thinking about the phrase information literacy and what exactly that's all about. Now, interestingly enough, you probably have been doing information literacy for most of your lives without ever identifying it as information literacy. That phrase usually is not exactly a common one that's used in everyday life. But I can guarantee you that if you've ever written a research paper, if you've done a project, if you have done research on renting an apartment, buying a house, maybe buying a car, anything like that, thinking about a tablet or a particular mobile device that might be most useful for you to take a look at, you've done information literacy, because what you've done is what is covered on our textbook on page 1. It states that being able to find and use information well means realizing what you know, what you don't, and what you need to learn, and thinking about those categories throughout the process. It is really a cyclical process of finding information, accessing it, evaluating it, putting it maybe into new knowledge, and then starting that cycle all over again. So when I talk about creating new knowledge, again, if you've written a research paper, if you've done any type of group project or individual project, if you've ever created a website, you have created new knowledge. And in fact, you've closed that loop of information literacy probably without even realizing it. So as we start to go through this class, I want you to internalize a lot of these concepts as we learn about how to think about information and then finding it and using it a little bit in a different way. What I'd like to do is outline in our textbook the 7 pillars of information literacy. Now there are actually 2 more pillars, so I guess it's really 9 rather than 7, but we'll go with the 7 for this one. So our textbook talks about the fact that we learn how to identify, which is understanding your information need. This is part of what we're going to be covering in this week's module. The scope is knowing what is available for a particular topic. The plan is actually thinking and sitting down and thinking about what your plan is going to be for finding information. We'll be spending some time on that in the next few weeks, and amazingly enough, if you just take a little bit of time to plan and think about the extent of your information need, how much you need, the currency of the information, it's going to make your work a lot easier in the long run. Gathering is finding what you need. Is it in print? Is it in electronic form? Do I need to go to another library or go somewhere else to find what I need? Evaluate. This is probably the cornerstone of everything that we're going to be doing. Evaluating simply means that you really think about what you are finding. And I would say that probably we've all had experiences of maybe checking out a book from a library, finding a magazine article, finding a website, and really getting excited. You think, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I want. This is going to really help me in my research. And then you look at it and you think, nope, that really wasn't what I needed after all. That's the keystone of evaluating. And I'm going to give you some tips and tricks that you can use to help you evaluate your information as you go along. Again, saving you time in the long run. This is what we're all about. Managing. I have a tool that I'll show you later on that is called Zotero. It's free, and it's a way that you can organize your information, such as your references for articles, books, and other sources of information, and you can actually use that to turn that into a bibliography in a particular citation style, such as MLA or APA. Again, this is going to make a lot more sense later on, but that's part of managing information. And then presenting. One thing that I had mentioned in an earlier email, and I do want to talk about this again, as you see, I really would like for you, if at all possible, to have access to a webcam and to a microphone. I want to be able to see you, I want to be able to hear you, to do some things that are a little bit more interactive, and you are going to be doing a video presentation of a project toward the end of the semester. If this is a problem, if it does present an issue, please contact me as soon as possible so we can think of some alternatives. But, you know, most laptops now have webcams. If you're here in Emporia, you can actually come to the library and check out our laptops that also do have webcams, and we can also check out microphones. So, again, Let me know if you think that's going to be an issue. But we will be presenting and sharing what we've learned. So here's the plus two: visual literacy and science literacy. Visual literacy is, I think, a very interesting concept. So I'm sure that maybe you've been at the store or at Walmart, and you're standing in the checkout line, getting ready to check out your items, and you see the latest issue of People magazine. And you might think that that celebrity looks really good for his or her age. Well, anything can happen with Photoshop. Photos can be retouched, they can be redesigned. So part of visual literacy is knowing how to apply the concepts of information literacy on evaluating, figuring out maybe what's been done, and applying that to visual images, knowing that images can be manipulated, videos can be manipulated. We can be manipulated in the forms of commercials. So we'll be spending some time with that. And then finally, science literacy. I would say that probably most, if not all of you, are on Facebook. And I always get amused when I'm looking at the ads that are on the right-hand side of my Facebook feed. And I might see an ad that talks about the greatest way to lose weight, the newest way to lose weight, of course endorsed by a celebrity. Well, part of science literacy is finding out what are the actual claims and then versus what are the actual facts. So we'll be doing some things on verifying the accuracy of scientific information, which might be research, it might be the newest medical discovery, something like that. So that's what science literacy is all about. So we'll be doing that throughout the semester as well. Well, let's go ahead and tackle the first pillar, which is identify. So chapter 1 of our textbook outlines the fact that an individual who can identify a personal need for information understands that new information is constantly being produced, that ideas are created by seeking information, the scale of the world of information, and the need to develop a habit of learning. What in the world does that all mean, though? Well, this is what we're going to address. As I say, so what? Well, think about the following. So, a personal need for information. What do you want to know, or what do you need to know about a topic? Is it for a class? Is it for your own personal use? Is it for somebody else? Is it for a friend or for a family member? Identifying that really personal need for information then will lead into the second part, which is understanding the context of an information need. Part of that is scanning what we might call the information environment. What's already out there about a particular topic? What's already been written about? What's already been discussed about the topic? What already is out there? And then moving from an information need to a research question. Now this can be formal, but it can also be extremely informal. A formal way of thinking about a research question and then into what we might call a thesis statement would be that I want to consider what I already know about a topic, but then my question or my statement would be, what is it that I really want to know more about? What do I already know, but what do I want to know more about? If you have taken, or if you are taking, English Composition 1 or English Composition 2, either here at Emporia State or at other places, the term thesis statement is probably going to sound pretty familiar. A lot of the time the instructors will have you write thesis statements for research papers. So that really is saying, this is what I want to know. So why would this be important for an information literacy class? A thesis statement is going to actually contain all the terms that you're going to use to find information about a topic. This is going to make a lot more sense the next few weeks. Well, let's practice what we just talked about. I'm interested in learning more about quitting smoking, and I really would like to know about methods of quitting smoking without using medications. There are a lot of medications that are advertised. Science literacy is kind of coming into play here. But I really want some more natural methods of quitting smoking. So what could be a personal need for that information? What would be the context? And what ultimately could be a research question about this topic that would lead to a thesis statement? Well, here we go. So what would be a personal need for this information? Well, I might be the one who wants to quit smoking. And I want to do it naturally. I don't want to use medications. Or I may have a family member or a friend who is needing this information, and so I'm going to go find that for them. So that's a personal need for information. Another personal need, as we've talked about, is that might be a topic that I'm doing for a class, maybe a science class, or public speaking, or something like that. What would be the context of this information need? Well, I may want to look at research that's already been done in this area. So I really want to see what's been tried and what's been proven. And that's where I'm going to get into the evaluating information and really making sure that I'm getting accurate feedback. Or I may want to pursue new avenues of knowledge. So in that particular context, I might want to say, well, I've been reading about these other ways of quitting smoking. I really want to find out more about them, even though maybe they have not been used, but that's what I want to pursue. So it could be what's already been done, what's already been tested, or new avenues of knowledge. What ultimately then could be a research question that leads to a thesis statement? Well, a question that I can ask myself would be, what are some methods that work for quitting smoking that do not involve medications? That translates then into a sentence or a statement. There are a number of methods available nowadays for successfully quitting the smoking habit, some of which do not involve medications. Well, there's my personal need crystallized into a thesis statement, and that is going to be my jumping off point for all of the research that I'm going to be doing from here on out. So part of information literacy, again, is identifying that personal need, putting it into its context, formulating a question into a statement, and then that way you've got something really good pinned down. And that's going to be, again, where you start the rest of your research. Again, this is going to make a lot more sense in the next few weeks. One thing I'm going to have you do every week for information literacy and technology is participate in either discussion threads or maybe some other activities. And usually these are worth 5 points. That doesn't sound like a lot, but 5 points start to add up over the course of a semester. So what I'd like for you to do for this week is, after you read Chapter 1 of our textbook, click on Discussions on our Canvas course and read the discussion thread that I have posted. I will be responding to it as well, but I really want you all to lead this discussion rather than me. I want you to answer the discussion thread by 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on Friday, January 30th. And for this and for every other discussion thread, I want you to give a very comprehensive and a detailed answer. I would not award points if you just say something such as, I agree, I don't agree with so-and-so. Really give a comprehensive and detailed answer. Now, there may actually never be any right or wrong answers, but the kinds of discussions that I'm going to pose for you, they basically require some thought. So really think about that, spend some time. And again, I will be interacting in the discussion, but I want you all to lead that discussion. So do that by the end of this week, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And finally, we have our first, basically not really a big assignment, but it's our first assignment that's worth 10 points, but again, it all adds up. This assignment is called Taking Stock of What You Already Know, and this is also covered in your textbook. With this one, what I want you to do is spend some time this week selecting a topic that you're going to be using for the rest of this semester. I really don't want you to change the topic. Why? Because starting now, just about every assignment that we do for this class will build upon the previous assignment. So if you're using the same topic for all of your assignments, honestly, you're going to save yourself a lot of work in the long run, and it will go towards something. So what could the topic be? If you are researching a topic for another class, you're more than welcome to use that topic, because you're going to be thinking about that topic in a different way for my class. If you don't have anything in mind for a class, or you don't really have to research anything that much, do something of personal interest. If you are really having problems thinking about a topic, please contact me during our virtual office hours or call me. If you're here on campus, you can always drop by the library and see me in person as well. I'd be happy to visit with you about that. But the topic that you choose, you're going to use for this first assignment. So you'll click on the assignments link. There's a worksheet on taking stock of what you already know. I want you to fill that out completely and then upload that onto Canvas, and it will be submitted and uploaded again no later than 11:59 p.m. Friday, January 30th. It looks like everybody did okay with the test submission of assignments, so I don't think you're going to have any problems uploading anything into Canvas. I do use what are called rubrics for every assignment, and the rubric is always attached at the bottom of each assignment in Canvas. A rubric simply is a way that I can grade and I can assign points to your assignments, and I can give comments, and it really does help in terms of that feedback. Look at the rubric for each assignment because you'll know what the expectations are. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. I hope that you have somewhat enjoyed this. Again, holler at me if you have any questions. Don't forget about the discussion thread, and don't forget about the assignment then that's due on Friday. Take care. We'll see you later.